Well, folks, today I've got the pleasure of replacing a rack and pinion on this Honda Ridgeline, first generation. One of the hydraulic hoses got a leak in it. You probably can't see it up in there, but see a bunch of hose clamps. I tried to seal it for a temporary fix, but that didn't work, so I gotta replace. I'm gonna replace the whole rack and pinion. Well, I got it on the lift, folks, and had to borrow Real O'Neill Trucks shop. They were kind enough to let me use their lift, so you guys go check them out on YouTube. They build some pretty cool old Chevy trucks. I'm surprised they let this Honda even in here. Well, folks, I got it out. That rack and pinion, the old one, what a battle. This old, you can see where that's the hole it came out of. It sits in here. There's a clamp with 2 bolts there. Goes over top of it. And ended up having to lower this subframe in order to get it out of there. So that wasn't expected, but yeah, it was a little bit of a fight. So there's also 2 other bolts that are right in that area. If you can see that, let me hit it with the light. Those 2 bolts ended up having to, I'm putting new lines on it. I ended up just cutting them because bolts are rusty. So that's what I'm going to do now, is run the new lines and then feed the new rack and pinion back through there. Hopefully it'll go in a little easier than the old one came out. Replace all these lines here. This is a return line. So I got another day of work here. Well, folks. Got the new rack and pinion all installed. It was a little bit of a battle. Glad I had this lift because I had to take the subframe bolts and lower that. There's a fair amount of videos on YouTube about how to do this, so I didn't document everything. But one thing I will say is I was able to get those 2 fluid lines installed without coming through the top, through the hood. I was able to get my fingers up in there. It's a little tight, but if you use a short, you can get those short wrenches. You can get those on. It's like a 19 and a 17 millimeter. So today I'm going to install the tie rod ends and finish installing this supply line here. I ended up just cutting the other one off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of wire through that one and wire this to it, so from the top I can just pull this up into place. But yeah, it's got new lines installed and the new rack and pinion. It was leaking pretty bad. One of the metal lines is broken off the rack and pinion, or it was rusted through. It's high pressure, so no way to patch it really. So instead of just putting new, actually I just figured I'd put the whole new rack and pinion in. Anyway, I better get to work. Well, okay then. Got the tie rod ends installed. Have to take it for an alignment, of course. Can't do that here, but oh yeah. We're getting close. All right, folks, one of the last things to do is install this steering column to the new rack. In order to get to that, you've got to take this cover off and peel this carpet back. And then there's a little plastic cover that goes over that. All right. Oh yeah, tie rod ends all installed. Everything hooked back up. We're ready to test some fluids. Last week I put new lenses in here and I had to pull this whole piece off. This whole grill and everything to get to the old ones. That was another fun project. We just love these Honda fun projects. Got this new power steering line all installed there. So we got a couple more things to do, then put the fluid in and pressurize the system or purge or whatever you call it. And hopefully we'll be back on the road. Well. Got it all back together, no leaks, thankfully. And we're ready to send it to the alignment shop. Took me probably 3 days, not full days, probably, yeah, let's just call it 24 hours probably, 3 days. But saved a little bit of dough, had more time this weekend, so now it's back on to get that wood cut. I'll catch you folks in a few. Well, folks, that was a fun project, and I just want to say you don't need to replace the tie rod ends. You can use your old ones if they're still good. Mine were rusted pretty good, so I decided just to, for the extra money, to replace those as well. Also, I normally try to do everything in my yard, jack this thing up, but it's a good thing I didn't, and I found somebody with a lift, because if I would have jacked it up, I probably would have had to drop that subframe in order to get that rack and pinion out and put the new one in, just to create more room. And it would have been a big problem, because I would have probably had to call a towing company to tow it somewhere to a shop. So I'd recommend, if you can find someone with a lift, or if you have a lift, it definitely is the way to go, because chances are you're going to have to lower that subframe. Anyhow, folks, thanks for watching the video, and I'll catch up with you on the next one.